Today I'm going to take you on a journey through countless hours of searching online, hundreds of emails and phone calls, days of traveling and trying, and finally, the day of arrival. Now, everyone in this class has had to buy something. Whether it's clothes, food, or books for your college classes, you've been through the process of finding and buying an item that meets your needs. Usually, by the end of the day, you either have that item or it's been ordered online and is coming to you in the mail sometime within the week. One thing most of you probably have not done is buy a horse. Buying a horse is usually a long, tedious process, but the end result is undoubtedly worth it. While for some people the process is quick, that was definitely not the case for me. Fortunately for you listening, this is the shortened 5 to 6 minute summary of the lengthy production. We'll start from the beginning and eventually we'll end up with this guy here. The search usually begins on the internet. There are several websites advertising horses of all types. However, the one I usually use is BigEq.com. This site contains horses that compete or are prospects for the hunters, jumpers, and equitation, the 3 disciplines that I compete in most. All of these specialties involve jumping over courses of jumps at certain heights. My goal was to find a horse that could jump 3 foot 6 inches and do the jumpers. Like searching for a car online, you type in the color, size, breed, age, price, location, pretty much everything of what you're looking for. Personally, the color doesn't make that much of a difference in the choice of picking a horse for me. Once I've narrowed down the search, there are still plenty of horses to choose from. I look at the pictures of all of the horses that fit the criteria and read about them. If they seem like good, trustworthy companions, I'll work a step further and watch the video of them being ridden. I take a day or two to weigh the pros and cons of the ones that best fit my standards before making any decisions. Once I find a few that seem to be suitable mounts, the next step is to contact the owner. Usually I start off by calling or emailing the different owners of the few that I'm interested in. First, I ask whatever questions I might have that weren't answered in the description. This could be anything from what kind of prep does he need at the horse show, to how long has he been jumping this high, to does he stand when you give him a bath. I also tend to ask what the best and worst thing about him will be. If I like the owner's answers to these questions, the more specific questions come out. How does your horse handle the heat? How often does he need to be ridden? And what does he eat and how much? These are sort of the questions that I would ask to find out if he were really going to be living here, how he would handle it. By the end of these questions, I usually have a pretty good idea of what the horse is going to be like and whether or not I want to take things a step further. However, unlike buying a car, the owner usually has some questions for me before automatically being willing to sell. They tend to ask about my barn and facility, making sure it's up to the standard they want for their horse. Another typical question is who my trainer is. Basically, they want to know who gives me lessons, and if it's some big-name trainer, it usually pleases them. Then they ask what kind of rider I am, how long I've been riding, and what I want to do with the horse, and what I would consider my experience level to be. If we all meet each other's expectations, the process is one step closer to being completed. Now, while you would think the next step might actually be buying the horse, it isn't. I have to travel and try the horses that I like the most. Trying a horse is basically just riding the horse and seeing if we get along. That is definitely the most fun part. The most efficient way is to try multiple horses in the same general location, and the reason for trying a few is it's better to compare and you don't just have to stick with the first one if you don't like them. Plus, I don't ever buy the first horse that I try without trying others. If the horse is local, so like Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, that sort of area, I'll drive up and try the horse myself. If the horse is far, I'll usually have to take a plane and spend a couple days there and hopefully try more than just one. The farthest I've ever traveled for a horse is Oregon, and that was a long trip. This one right here, he was in Kentucky. Even if I really like the first horse I try, I always keep looking to see if there's one that's better. Still, once I find the horse I want, I still can't buy it. Because the horse is a performance horse, I have to get the horse checked by a veterinarian to make sure his body will hold up to the job that he'll be doing in my barn. Unfortunately, some horses don't pass the vet. I fell in love with the second horse that I tried near the beginning of my search. Sadly, he didn't pass the exam and my search continued. Thankfully, Connell did. The price was negotiated and insurance was bought. The money was wired and we drove our truck and trailer up to Kentucky to get him in a freezing rainstorm in January. That was fun. Although the process was definitely exhausting, seeing the horse walk through my barn for the first time was definitely a very good feeling. To put things in perspective, Connell was the 11th horse I tried out of 5 different states between June 2015 and December 2016. While searching for a year and a half was a bit of a drag, the end result was completely worth it. So the next time you find yourself complaining about a long line at a store, remember that at least you won't be there for an entire year and a half.